Hello and welcome to Social Media Law and Risk Management. I'm Mark Pearson. I'm Professor of Journalism and Social Media at Griffith University. You can see my contact details there, my Twitter, which is important of course for a social media law course, and my email address, as well as my Facebook address. Let's start by looking at the aims of this course. Well, we look at social media law and risk management as the title says. And it's important we do that, not just in a local context, but in a global context. The very nature of social media is global. So when you've finished this course, you really need to know about three important things. One is stakeholder theory. And why is there theory? Well, this is a postgraduate level course, and postgraduate courses are underpinned by theory. The second thing you'll know about is some of the key laws that apply to social media internationally. And the third thing is social media policy and risk management. So how to formulate a social media policy, making allowance for these laws, and with a special focus on averting communication crises. Well, how do you get started for the course? Well, firstly, you need to read the course outline very thoroughly. And you can go onto Griffith Online to do this. The course outline, the document itself, is sitting on the left-hand menu under that name. So please go there and read the finer detail of the course, what we're aiming to achieve, the educational objectives, and all of the assessment details. These are the official requirements of the course. Now you also need to buy the textbook, Blogging and Tweeting Without Getting Sued. You can either buy it or borrow it through the Griffith University Library. Whenever you're trying to access the textbook or other readings through the library site, make sure you are logged on as a Griffith student at the time, because otherwise, if you're doing it without being logged on, you'll be charged, or they will attempt to charge you for that. So log on with your Griffith account and download the various articles and read them there. But some of you may prefer to read these things in their print mode, so by all means feel free to borrow them to do that. Part of being successful in this course is being smart with your online study. And to do that, all students are different. There's no magic number of hours that people should do, but the average student really needs to set aside about 10 hours per week to be successful in a course like this. So it might seem that there's not a lot going on in a particular week, but that could be a week where you're meant to be doing independent study, working towards the learning module, researching and accessing materials in preparation for the following week. So try to timetable yourself to have at least 10 hours a week. You can see there that there's a strategic path of learning. And this course hasn't been designed by accident. It's had input from some of the nation's best blended learning experts. So you really start by doing your reading, you watch the lecture video and whatever other videos are recommended for the particular week. You read the study notes or the extension notes that are available, particularly if you're more interested in that topic. The study notes, the extension, supplementary notes are not compulsory, but they do give a deeper understanding, and some of you might be looking for that. You jump onto our discussion board. So as you explore the site, you'll have a look at the discussion board, and there are various topic headings set up there for each week of the course and also for some other topic areas. Jump on there. Talk to your peers about the issue. Flesh things out. Float some questions of your tutors there. And all along the way, you'll be recording notes for your learning journal, which is your final assessment or your penultimate assessment item. As you go along, you'll be drafting notes, but these will take a more formal form as you finally submit your learning journal. At the end of each module, there'll be a little quiz, a formative quiz. We call it a formative quiz because there are no marks attached to it. It's testing your knowledge at that point. But those very questions feed into your end of semester quiz. So it's very much in your interests to be doing the formative quizzes as each module finishes. And also at the end of each module, at the very least, but perhaps at some other times as well, I'll be recording in my office a little office hours video where we talk about some of the issues that have been raised that week, how you've discussed them in the discussion board, and where we're heading from there. So these will be more amateurish videos that I've recorded myself in the room. Note your assessment due dates early on and work to those dates. It's an online course, and if you have some compassionate grounds for getting an extension, by all means ask. We're compassionate people. But please bear in mind what those dates are and work towards them, and don't leave things to the last moment. And get onto that discussion board and communicate with your other students and me, and jump onto social media. We will have a hashtag operating, hashtag MLGriff, and that'll be spelt out for you. You'll see that in other slides. And you'll need to jump onto social media because the course is about social media law, so we need to be actively engaging with it as we go along. I've mentioned a little bit about a couple of the assessment items already, and so let's have a closer look at the assessment. The main assessment item early on that you need to be thinking about is this learning journal, and it's where you record your mindful reflections upon what you're learning throughout the course, particularly your referenced reasons for why you've chosen certain decisions in our learning problems as they're posed in each module. This is a problem-based learning course, so at the very beginning of every module, we'll read out here, a learning problem that underpins what we learn about that topic area. That gives you something to be thinking about as you're learning about the topic, and it reinforces your understanding because it's a real-life situation. Most of the learning problems are taken from real cases, or at least amalgamations of cases and situations that people using social media have found themselves in as they've encountered legal difficulties. I've mentioned a little bit about the formative quizzes leading up to the final quiz. These will be floated for a couple of weeks only at the end of each module. You'll have the opportunity to do those quizzes there. One of the most recent advances in learning and in retaining learning is that people learn best when they're actually given a question again that they've already had before. And that's what we're going to be able to do with these quizzes. There'll be 20 questions at the end of each module, most of which will be on the fresh material, but a few of them will go back to the previous module and ask you again something related to that earlier work. That prompts you to wipe away the cobwebs, go back to the earlier module and remember the material, which entrenches the learning process. The final assessment item comes after the very final module, where we look at social media policies and risk management. And this is your capstone written assignment that you'll be submitting via Turnitin, the software for assessing assignments. All that's explained on the Learning at Griffith site, the procedures there. But this is where you will be actually evaluating, writing a critical evaluation of an organisation's social media policy. How well it accommodates the various social media laws, and remember that theory, how well it addresses the needs of the various stakeholders in that organisation. So it all comes to that finale. That evaluation really brings together everything that we've been learning in the course. So let's get started now. You'll need to go to the Learning at Griffith site and get familiar with all of the course material, the outline, like I just mentioned to you, but jump into every one of those menu items and have a browse around there. Go particularly to the first module. Not all of the material will be up yet. That's simply because we want to unfold some of the material progressively. We don't want you reading too far ahead. It could get confusing at this stage, but there will always be a few weeks ahead of you at any time. But go to the first module, do your reading for that, and view the first lecture video. And get onto that discussion board. Meet your colleagues in the class. Say hi to me, I'll be in there having a look at the discussion board. And let's share our social media contact details. Let's follow each other. Let's look towards a Facebook page for the course. and start communicating on social media. I really hope you enjoy social media law and risk management, but even more importantly, I hope you learn a lot about social media laws, risks, and effective social media policies in this new Web 2 environment. Enjoy.